Welcome everybody to another episode of Real Reviews by Loukprop. This is Louis, and today we'll be going through the Watergardens by UOL Group, and this will be an exciting one in the north, so you don't want to miss this out. So let's get to it. So before that, I'll mention that we have 5 factors that we are using to assess this project and review it, namely location and accessibility, development quality and facilities, pricing, rental yield, and stack selection. Right. So the first one, location and accessibility. Okay, so first up, location. Now, if we look at our screen here, the Watergardens at Canberra, right over here, is only 5 minutes walk from Canberra MRT, right, as the name suggests. So it's very close proximity. In fact, going to be one of the closest condos to Canberra MRT. And Canberra MRT is a very new MRT, built only in November 2019. Right. Canberra Plaza, which is a plaza that houses 70 commercial units, right, was built in December 2020. So very new area, meaning that this area has a lot of chance to grow even more in terms of its amenities and its residential areas. Now, Canberra Plaza has over 70 commercial units, like I said before, consisting of shops like NTUC, Daiso, Starbucks, McDonald's, BreadTalk, you name it, you have it. Right, so it will be a common place for residents of the Watergardens to visit in the future. If we were to look at the entire area itself, another exciting development that will be happening soon is right over here. So see this piece of land, this a little bit heart-shaped piece of land. This is actually Bukit Canberra. So Bukit Canberra, if we look at the website here, Bukit Canberra will actually be built by 2021, so the end of 2021, likely, all right? And if we were to look at what this actually entails, this is a sports and community hub, integrated sports and community hub, which will provide amenities such as hawker center, indoor and outdoor sports facilities, a polyclinic, senior care center, green spaces for community farming, and lifestyle-related amenities for the community. So it will be a really exciting integrated hub for people that's living in the north side, especially between Yishun and Sembawang, and of course the Canberra residents. So this will actually help in bringing up the value of the area. Now, speaking of bringing up the value of the area, let's first look at the entire area of Canberra and where it's sitting on. So Canberra, if I were to look at this entire map of the northern region, this is what we are going to be calling the North Coast Innovation Corridor, ranging from here, Marsiling Woodland side, all the way down to actually further downwards, which is Punggol side, right? So what's so exciting about this area? Now, if you see, Woodlands Regional Centre is actually one of the biggest transformations that's happening in the northern region. All right, it will be a decentralized commercial hub. Right, Senoko Food Zone will be centering its efforts on agri-tech and also a food hub. All right, and also, like I said before, the Bukit Canberra redevelopment and integrated hub. So all these 3 things that are happening around here will actually bring a lot of life and also residents back into the north region, and this will surely help the area grow as well. But I think what's even more exciting about this area is actually this north-south corridor moving all the way down. So where is this north-south corridor going to be up until? So if you look at the LTA website, all right, the north-south corridor will be Singapore's largest and longest transit priority corridor. It will be about 21 kilometers long, featuring dedicated bus lanes, cycling trunk routes, and pedestrian paths to serve public, bus commuters, active mobility users, and pedestrian. Right. So once it is fully completed, it will link from northern side, the Woodland side, all the way down to the city centre. Right. How much time will it save? It will actually be saving residents, right, an expected 10 to 15 minutes of travel time in itself. So that's a lot of time saved, and it will be pretty exciting because along this north-south corridor, they'll be having a lot of developments along the way as well. Right? If you want to have more info, you can visit the website. There's a video, you can watch the video yourself, right? So after collating all these points together, although Watergardens at Canberra is actually at the very northern side of Singapore, but because of its very close proximity to the MRT and also all the developments that's happening around it, it will actually be quite an exciting location and area for owners of TWG, right? So for Watergardens at Canberra, location-wise and accessibility, my rating for it is 3.5/5. So next, development quality and facilities. Now let's go into the development details first. Right, this is a developer that is a joint venture between UOL Group, Singland and King Leong. Right, there's total of 448 units, as you can see here, 448 units, and 448 residential car park lots, along with other car park lots as well. Okay, architect is P&T Consultants, landscape consultants are Site Tectonics. These are two very major players in the market as well, very well known. Alright, and if we were to look at UOL Group, especially UOL Group, now this developer needs no introduction. They are one of the more reputable developers out there. They have made a name for themselves for good build quality for their projects, and also having a vision for good architecture. Alright, a very good vision for design for the entire space as well. So if we were to look at their track record, there's so many condos that they have built since the beginning, right? And if we were to look further into the quality of the projects that they have been building, this is the BCA website for quality mark. So it's very difficult to get BCA quality mark, as I've mentioned in the past in other review videos. But if you look at their website, this is the BCA website for quality mark. You see Wing Tai has about 5 or 6 quality mark projects, Viher. And if you take a look at UOL Group, look at how many projects they have that achieve the BCA quality mark. Right? All these are all quality mark. And also United Venture Development, same thing, is also UOL. UIC is also one of the joint venture partners. So they, in between themselves, these three companies, they have a lot of experience in building really good projects for the residents. Now let's take a look at facilities. So if we take a look at the site plan, you'll notice a few things. As the name suggests, water gardens. So they have a lot of water facilities as well as a lot of greenery dotted around the development. So let's take a look at the water facilities first. From the site plan, you can see there is a 50-meter lap pool here. So for those very serious swimmers, very avid swimmers, right, you want to get your laps in, this will be the place to go. But for the more casual swimmers, right, if you just want to frolic in the water, right, or your kids wants to go and play in the play pool, there's also a forest pool here that houses your water slides, your water hammocks, water terraces, jacuzzi pools, gym, aqua gym. So let's take a look. There's a few pictures here as well I can show you. Their artist impressions, right, along the waters. You see you have your water jet terraces here, right? You also have water jet terrace, water play slide, as I was mentioning earlier on, the 50-meter lap pool, right? Water hammocks in the area, right? So there's no lack of water facilities in the project. Now in terms of greenery, other than all the floating pavilions, all the trees, meadow gardens, you have your TP decks here, your swing gardens, right? Swing gardens here, you have your recreation, beautiful recreational lawn. And for a lot of people who don't know, this project also has a lot of floating pavilions for gardening as well. So this is pretty special. You can actually get your friends and families down to try your hand at gardening, right? You can plant some herbs, some plants, and then harvest them as well. So that's pretty interesting. Also, the project will come with your standard gym, of course. So like I said, gym, and the 3 function rooms. Function room 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. Right, so everything that you need as a facility inside a project, you'll have it. Only thing it doesn't have is a tennis court, but nowadays a lot of projects also don't have tennis court, right? So if I were to summarize everything, give a conclusion for everything, UOL being such a reputable developer for delivering good quality projects, and also if you look at the facilities, they are also really well designed, I would give it quite a high score for the development quality and facilities at 4.5/5. So next, we'll talk about pricing. First, let's look at the land cost of Watergardens at Canberra. So Watergardens at Canberra was sold at a price of 650 per square foot per plot ratio. And if you work out the developmental costs, marketing costs, government costs, so on and so forth, the break-even price for the Watergardens is actually at 1,224 per square feet, around there, 1,224 per square feet, right? And if you remember our past reviews, I mentioned that usually developers will want a 20 to 25% profit margin. So if we were to estimate it at a 20% profit margin, the Watergardens will be actually launching at average 1,460 per square foot. Even at a 15% profit margin, we are actually expecting average prices to be around 1,400 per square foot. Now, what are the actual indicative prices? So the developer UOL Group has actually released an indicative pricing starting from 1,300 plus per square foot. But understanding all developers, when they are actually giving out this kind of pricing, right, is usually all the bigger size units, the 4 bedders, if you will, right? They are starting from 1,300 plus per square feet. So if you were to estimate, say there are 2 bedders to the 3 bedders, the rough, my estimation, right, my opinion will be the rough average pricing should be between 1,400 plus to 1,500. This will be a safe zone that we can estimate it at. So how does this price compare with the competitors around them? Let's first look at another new launch that will be launching soon, which is the Commodore. So if you look at the map here, Watergardens is here. The Commodore is directly above it. Right, so the Commodore was sold at the exact same time as the Watergardens at Canberra's land parcel. So parcel A and parcel B. Okay, they were sold. Commodore was sold at around the same price as well, 644 per square foot per plot ratio to Watergardens 650 per square foot per plot ratio. So if you were to take a look at their break-even prices, this is Watergardens, this is the Commodore. You can see that their break-even price is really roughly the same. However, let's compare the two projects. One is by UOL Group and another one is by JBE Holdings. So JBE Holdings is a sort of a boutique kind of developer, not as well known as UOL. Number two, you can see that the land size here for the Commodore is half the land size of the Watergardens. And the maximum amount of units that can be built in the Commodore is 220 units, which is roughly half of what the Watergardens is, which is 448 units. So in the future, if you imagine a buyer were to go and buy these two properties, they have a decision between buying the Commodore, the Watergardens, right? Judging by the developer alone, I'm not saying that JBE is a bad developer, I'm just saying that they are not as well known as UOL Group. That's number one. Number two, because of its bigger land size, it's able to house more facilities for the residents, making it a more beautiful kind of development as well. And because having more units there would actually lower the maintenance cost slightly for Watergardens, my opinion is that buyers will actually lean towards the Watergardens in the future if they are going to be selling at the same price. That's for the Commodore. What about the other projects, other new launches that are already launched so far? So the other two launches that have launched in the Canberra region is Park Canberra. Let's take a look at the map. It's over here, Park Canberra, which is further away from the MRT, and also Province, which is even further away from the MRT. So these two projects are further away from the MRT than the Watergardens at Canberra. The difference is this. Park Canberra and Province, these are both executive condominiums. Whereas the Watergardens at Canberra, the status is a private condominium. So without getting into too much detail between the differences of EC and private condominiums, what we normally notice is that private condominiums are more expensive than their EC counterparts for a few reasons. Number one, because the land cost is more expensive, right? Number two, because ECs usually have a lot of HDB restrictions at the first launch, things like 5-year MOP, right? That you have to fulfill a certain income ceiling, right? Usually private condos will cost more than their EC counterparts. So what are Park Canberra and Province prices now? Let's take a look at Park Canberra. Let's take a look at their transacted prices. You can see that their transacted prices are really between 1,000 to 1,002 per square foot based on recent transacted prices, 1,000 to maybe 1,001 plus 1,002, right? Province is currently transacting at between 1,001 to 1,002, some even as high as, let's check out the highest price, 1,273. Right, so 1,001 to 1,003 versus Park Canberra 1,000 to 1,002. So if indicative prices do hold true for the Watergardens at Canberra, and they are really going to be launching from 1,003, then those people who are able to snag a unit at 1,003 plus per square foot will be snagging a really good deal, because it's just maybe about 100 per square foot higher than its EC counterpart. That's really a good deal. But even if they were to be buying at 1,004 plus per square foot, comparison to an EC, I think it's a pretty fair and reasonable price to be asking. Okay, but we also have to compare not only with the ECs that are new launch nearby, we also can compare with the projects that are actually launched already. Although please do note that these projects are much older. All right, the newest private condo there is actually 8 courtyards, which was built in 2015. The Watergardens is expected to TOP around 2025 or 2026, so that will be at least 7 to 8 years older, right? So Canberra side, if you look at one Canberra, is transacting at around 900 to 1,000. 8 courtyards is about the same thing, around 900 plus to 1,002, right? Highest, one of the highest is 1,002. Nautical as well, right? Is transacting at 1,000 to 1,002, 1,003 even, right? Canberra Residences also around that kind of pricing, 800 to 900. So if you look at these 4 condos, you have 8 courtyards here, 1 Canberra here, Nautical here, Canberra Residences here. So all these projects are actually further away from the MRT, from Canberra MRT, and they are already transacting at about 1,000 to as high as 1,003 in the immediate region already, right? These are much older, 8 years at least, older than Watergardens in the future. So Watergardens selling at about 1,003 starting from, averaging about 1,004 is pretty reasonable, I would say, quite a fair price. Okay, another comparison that we can make, although Brownstone, you can see from the map here, Brownstone and Visionaire, these are 2 ECs that haven't met their 5-year MOP yet, but there are already units that are transacting because maybe they have gotten an earlier approval to sell before MOP. But these units they are already selling earlier, are already selling at about 1,000 to 1,001 per square feet. So once they reach their MOP, right, their 5-year MOP, likely by the end of this year or beginning of next year, they'll be roughly transacting in my opinion, around 1,002 plus. So again, the Watergardens at 1,003 to 1,005, I think would be a pretty good price to go in. Although I need to mention that the Watergardens, along with Commodore, of course, in the future, would still be the highest pricing condos in the entire Canberra region. So they are actually setting the record price there. So gathering all the information that I just shared earlier on, and if the indicative prices do hold true, my rating for pricing for this project is 3.5 over 5, with the caveat that the prices do remain in the 1,400 plus per square foot region when it is launched. So now it's rental yield. Now we'll be using 4 different condos to do this comparison, namely 1 Canberra, 8 courtyards, the Nautical and Canberra Residences, because these 4 condos actually have rental transactions already, so we can take a look at them. So number 1, let's take a look at 1 Canberra. You can see that we'll be using their 3 bedders as comparison. The 3 bedders here are ranging anything from 2005 to as high as 2007, right, recently. 8 courtyards, we are looking at their 3 bedders being anywhere from 2,005 to as high as $3,000, okay. Nautical, roughly the same thing, 2,005 to 3,000. Canberra is also roughly the same thing, 2,005 or as low as 2,003 actually, to about 3,150. So you can see that all 4 condos are actually ranging in between $2,005 to $3,000. Now, if we were to use this as the rental basis to be conservative, all right, let's first use 2005. Now, if you remember how to calculate rental yield, you take the monthly rental times 12 over the purchase price. So if we were to use an estimated price for a 3-bedder in the Watergardens at Canberra at $1.3 to $1.4 million, at a 2,005 to 3,000 rental yield, rental per month, we are looking at a rental yield of between 2.2 to 2.7% rental yield, which is not too bad but not fantastic as well. It's right there in the middle, which is an acceptable range that can clear your cost also for owning the property, right? So if you were to really look at the Watergardens, right? Of course, if you compare with these 4 other condos, Watergardens is much closer to the MRT, Canberra MRT, and it will also be one of the newest ones, in fact, about 7 to 8 years younger than all these other condos. So I do expect a monthly rental to be actually higher than all these other projects. But when we do these kind of calculations, we always like to be conservative. That's why I'm using these existing rental to do these calculations. So 2.2 to 2.7% is not too bad, and it's not very good as well. Now, in terms of rental transactions and volume, if you were to look at these 4 projects over here, you can see that their rental volume is not too bad, all right? Obviously, 8 courtyards and the nautical have the highest rental volume in a single year, in the last 12 months, because they are generally closer than out of the 4 projects, they are generally closer to the MRT. 8 courtyards is here, nautical is here, whereas Canberra Residences and One Canberra is actually a little bit further away from Canberra MRT, right? So again, the Watergardens at Canberra is the closest project to Canberra MRT, so I would expect their transaction volume to be higher and better than all these 4 other projects. So if I were to give a score for rental yield for this project, it would be 3/5. Not too bad, but not too fantastic. So lastly, for stack selection. Now, for those of you who are new here, right, these are the factors we use in determining the ideal stacks. Things like your view from the unit, all right, your block-to-block distance, whether you are too near to your neighbor directly in front of you, your north, south, east, west facing to see where the west sun is coming in, all right, your noise level, whether you're in front of an expressway, road, tennis court, bin center, so on and so forth, and the unit layout efficiency. So if you take a look at the screen right now, right, these are your ideal stacks, your average stacks, and your not so ideal stacks. Right, so in determining all these, we didn't actually factor in the individual unit pricing because we don't have that yet. But if you're interested to know how we actually determine all these ideal stacks, the reasons for it, and also which units are the most value buy for you, you can actually click the link in the comment section below, and our team will actually hit you up and let you know more information. Right, so for ratings for stack selection in this project, we'll give it a 3.5/5. So gathering all the different scores for the different factors, our overall score for TWG is 3.6/5. Okay, so we hope that this review has been helpful for you in understanding the project a little bit better. If you need more information like e-brochures, the pricing, the unit selection, do click the link in the comment section below and we will get in touch with you real quickly. Right, so what other condos do you want us to review? Leave it down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, that's very important for us. Subscribe to the channel and we'll see you in the next video. See you.